Hi everybody, it's meteorologist Joe Cioffi here. It's 10:20 Eastern Time on March 7th, 2018 as we watch our second nor'easter in 5 days revving up. And if you were expecting to see snow already on the ground this morning, most places really that was not the case. Some areas on colder surfaces saw a coating to an inch overnight, but the real bulk of this is going to come from noon till 7 p.m. And we're seeing all the evidence showing up on the satellite radars this morning. I'm going to bring up, first I want to bring the surface map, the latest surface map that was plotted this morning from the Weather Prediction Center, and bring this up here. And here's your surface low. This was as of 8:30 this morning. The low was plotted just east of the southeastern Virginia coast. You've got the primary low. The colors you see in the background is actually the enhanced satellite view, and you can see a lot of these higher cloud tops just offshore. And since this morning, in the last 2 hours, this low has moved on course, and I have the visible satellite loop because you can really see it pretty well here. We'll bring it up to the top. And if you look carefully, first off, the low center is sitting probably now just east of the Delmarva Peninsula. It's a little further offshore than what was modeled. It's kind of inching its way northwestward toward the southern New Jersey coast. You can see the rotation here, very impressive on the visible view, but also notice to the north and west of there, you can actually see the higher cloud tops here gelling up and backing northwestward. This is the area that is going to produce the significant snowfall, and it's going to have to do it with borderline temperatures at the surface. They're sitting basically in the middle 30s. What will happen is if you get the intensity, and that really is going to be key, if you get the intensity, that is when it'll overcome the warmer low-level temperatures. It's very cold aloft, and that'll bring the temperatures down to probably closer to 32, 33, and you'll put down accumulations on certainly on the colder surfaces. And if you've got heavy snow falling at the rate of an inch an hour, you're going to put it down on the road surfaces as well. Here's the latest radar view as we take a look at that, and you can see to the south, this is a little bit behind real time by a short amount of time, but you can start to see the yellows showing up here, the higher tops gelling out across southern New Jersey, and then a band across central New Jersey. There are some surface reports with regards to sleet with all this, and I'm going to see if I can refresh that, get a later picture. There it is. Okay, you can see how this is all filling in very, very rapidly here over New Jersey. We can see on some cameras that it is starting to snow harder in places just south and west of New York City and back into eastern Pennsylvania. Now, notice the back edge cuts off pretty sharply, but even there, we're seeing that back edge expanding westward. And I think I have a local radar shot here somewhere in this massive Brady Bunch boxes that I've got. There's a wide radar view, and it's hidden around here someplace. Just bear with me, folks. All right, maybe I wound up moving it or erasing it, but you get the idea. We are seeing everything moving on course with regards to all of this. So what are we forecast to see when this is all said and done? Well, I'm going to bring up, this was my final call forecast, and this was, I made this late yesterday, and I kind of scaled things back a little bit because of the fact of the tenuous nature of the surface temperatures, and just in general not being overly sure of the low. I thought it would translate further east and colder, and that is indeed going to be the case, and that may impact amounts here on the southern from Long Island and parts of central New Jersey, where I am lower than the Weather Service amounts across the board. The Weather Service is very aggressive in some inland areas. I went lower because of the fact that we're going to see a little bit of melting along the way. But overall, we are, I think, looking pretty good here with regards to what's going to happen this afternoon. So let me just very quickly run through the weather model here, and I'll show you the NAM, because we're basically now in kind of real-time range here. So I would expect that this will probably be pretty close to reality, at least you know, as far as the forecast is concerned. We hope we are. And Jeffrey, do you need to get on the air?
Yeah, but you got time.
Okay, so just give me a nod when you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the NAM at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and there's your low southeast of Cape May. But you can see where you have these darker blues. This is all moderate to heavy snow, and the NAM is very aggressive, showing very impressive vertical motions. So do not be surprised if you hear some thunder out of all of this. And if somebody gets under any kind of thunderstorms that develop with this system, you could put the snow down in a big hurry. You could put down the bulk of your accumulation in just a couple of hours. Now, notice that the surface low pushes away just about straight east. Yesterday, the models were kind of straddling this up along the coastline, almost tracing out the boundary of the coastline, and we kind of were suspicious about this all along. They usually don't do that. If you notice how the precip is lined up here as it sees its representation of the radar, the isobars around the low, they're stretched out straight to the east. There's probably a second center inside this convection out to the east, and that's usually a sign of the low trying to redevelop out to the east. Much like the primary low redevelops to the secondary, the same thing happens in a situation like this when they're offshore. It reaches a peak intensity and then redevelops to the east, and that essentially traps the colder air along coastal areas. It actually drags it down into the immediate coast, which is making the forecast for Long Island and parts of central and southern New Jersey very, very difficult, because we basically have to watch all of this happen while it's on top of us. And that's what we're going to be taking a look at with regards to this over the next 12 hours or so. And then the low pulls away to the northeast, and then weather conditions improve. So just to summarize here very, very quickly, everything with regards to this system remains on course. The peak time will be from lunchtime to dinner time. If your dinner time is lunch is at 12 and dinner's at 7, that is where we're going to put this all down. So we'll just come back a little bit later on. We'll update everything for you. I will be a little bit more active on the chat at that point, and we can I'll take your questions. So just a quick update here. We will see you a bit later on today.